Hey, folks, welcome to Affiliate Nerd Out. I'm your nerderator, Dustin House, spreading that good word about affiliate marketing. Joining me today, Kim Murray, CEO, founder of Vital Blue. Oh, man, I messed it up already, Kim. I'm so sorry.
Vir Virality boost.
Virality Boost. Welcome to the Nerdatorium, Kim.
Thank you so much, Dustin. Thanks for having me.
Well, we don't have a lot of background together, but you have been in this industry quite a while, and you're on the publisher side of the equation. And why don't we start off with telling people what you do and who you are?
Sure. Um, well, I've been in the industry since 2012, and I've since then managed 76 affiliate programs, mostly e-commerce brands, global brands. I launched the first influencer network within the affiliate space in 2015. Wasn't called influencer then; it was called bloggers, right? So yeah, so we were able to get a blog post, email newsletter by the influencer, total takeover display plus 2 rounds of social for $400 back then.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was, and I still continued management, but since the ShopShare days, which was back in 2015, I've launched over 8,000 influencer campaigns to date. But my approach to influencers is very much from a affiliate manager's perspective,
Okay.
right? To grow a brand or to grow their affiliate program and to really help the brand kind of grow year over year.
Awesome. And what kind of clientele are you serving?
So it's mostly e-commerce brands. We have done some lead companies, lead brands, but it's our expertise is in e-commerce, and we focus in lifestyle. So it's home goods, fashion, beauty, pretty much anything related to the home or to living.
Okay. Outstanding. And our topic of the day, influencer content distribution. These are three words that I'm familiar with, but not all together. And I would love your take on what influencer content distribution is, and let's educate the audience.
Okay. So influencer content distribution is different from influencers as creators. So when you're a creator, you're creating your own content. With us, we leverage influencers as distributors of content. So we're focused on their audience, their social proof, and then being able to scale the results. It this way we're able to control the message. So we build out the creatives, we build out the copy. We have a set of trusted influencers. We kind of know what measurements they should be at in terms of their click-through rates and all these performance KPIs. We're able to launch influencer campaigns in 2 to 3 days, as small as 5 influencers, as big as 50 or more influencers. If we're launching 50, just to be clear, it's not going to be launched in 2 to 3 days. And there's different ways of structuring it, but mostly the difference is that the influencer is really focused on the audience that they're serving rather than the content that they're creating. And those are two very different goals. So if you're focused on the creating of content, you're really looking at how many followers they have, maybe in terms of like what you could be reaching organically, or more importantly, what the engagement from a creator perspective. But what we've found is that those really don't impact what tangible business outcomes would be, which would be traffic and ultimately sales. They do at scale, right? Like there's definitely influencers that have 1 million followers, or they're just like great, like discount influencers, that type of thing, that do create their own content. But we have a very specific model for distribution.
Well, that makes it easier on the content creator, I would assume.
Definitely.
I think one of the biggest issues affiliate managers find with working with influencers out there on a performance basis is not giving them enough assets and enough collateral to work with, and just hoping that they're going to go out and do it. And I love the structure that you're creating. And essentially, you're I don't want to call you a sub-affiliate network essentially, but you are a publisher that has a network underneath you of an army of influencers that's ready for their next assignment essentially with your
That's
client.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's precisely right. I mean, on a sub-affiliate network, I think just by definition in this space, it's more focused on, those influencers coming in themselves and then finding the brand that they like and then posting in a more creator type of way.
Right.
But we do have, like, I want a very specific type of influencer if I'm running, a wellness brand versus a home goods brand. And just based on we look at their metrics, and also their soft skills in order to be able, like, how quickly can they launch? Like, what's their audience kind of reaction? What's their click-through rates? Like, there's a whole bunch of different KPIs that we're looking at that you're not going to get from just like from looking at them on social media.
Yeah, following. Okay, awesome. So the influencers that you are working with, that you essentially employ for this strategy, you're giving them some kind of upfront budget to work with to create the content that you've already curated essentially and crafted for that brand's messaging. What does that look like? Are they working on a performance at all, or are they okay? So it's strictly flat.
Yeah. I think that it's a challenging space that creators have had in affiliate, right? Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, they put in a lot of work in building out their audience. They put a lot of time in pulling links and posting and, whatever the case may be. I think our model really at the end of the day is to pay the influencer quickly, be efficient, get them launched quickly, prove them out, whether they're going to be performers or not, and just to understand, and sometimes, especially with lifestyle, you have to test out different types of categories and brands. But we do pay them on a flat fee.
Okay, gotcha. And with this flat fee that you're working with these influencers on, that's going to adjust based on your guys' budget with the clientele and with what you're working with them and maybe their reach. And all of this content is going onto their channel, to their audience. It's not for user generated content.
So there's different ways that we'll structure it based on what we're trying to accomplish for the brand. So there are different algorithmic considerations that you want to take into account when you're working on Meta. Like, is it better to do a whitelisted ad and have total control over the ad? Or is it better to have the influencer post and then boost from that post? So depending on the scale that we're looking at, depending on how well known the brand has and how much existing momentum, will depend on the approach and strategy from that perspective.
Okay.
Um,
So managing that many affiliate programs in the past has set you up for success. And I know you're a data nerd and you're always evaluating what's going to work and you can kind of eyeball things at this point. Where do you see when you take on a client, what's that step one that you're going with them to start working with them in this kind of capacity?
So we basically evaluate what their budget is and then what type of traffic that they have that they're looking to accomplish, right? So
Sure.
if their budget is, say, $10,000, then we're calculating how much budget it's going to take in order to drive a specific amount of traffic, and then we calculate their conversion rate and multiply that by their average order value. And so based on $10,000, they need, some brands are like, I just want a one-on-one. You know what I mean? They're like, this is so frustrating. We know we need to get out there. We need awareness. We need demand. We just want to see our money back. Or brands will be like, no, we need a 2-to-1 or whatever the number is, right? And so based on what they're looking to accomplish, we'll say, okay, this is how much traffic we think we can deliver. And this is how much reach you're going to have, which is really important in the overall e-commerce strategy or brand strategy. And then we kind of estimate where they should be coming in at.
Excellent. And with that, you see affiliate marketing not as like in a traditional sense, but almost as a retargeting channel.
I do.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yep. So affiliate, as we know, like traditionally has been the lower funnel, right? So they
Yeah.
sit on different parts of the purchasing path. So you're going to have the browser extensions from Cap One and Retail Me Not and Rakuten, that type of thing on the desktop. You're also going to have email retargeting from SafeOpt. You're going to have upsell it, cart abandonment, right? You're going to have other, now I know there's a new publisher out there that does text retargeting. So I don't know how they do it, but they basically send a text message out, when for visitors that visit the site. So from that perspective, if your affiliate program has all of these lower funnel kind of like conversion moments, you need to be driving traffic in demand in awareness into the channel. So from our perspective, we're driving say 10,000 in traffic, we're going to see kind of the attribution in multiple places. So it could be through Ebates, through upsell it. I can see cart abandonments and I can say, okay, well, or not cart, sorry, add to carts. So I can say, okay, you had 100 add to carts. So then they need to calculate, kind of like what their cart abandonment rate is and that type of thing. But if you look at growing your affiliate program from it being a retargeting channel, then you have to drive new traffic into your funnel, affiliate funnel.
Gotcha. And so you as a publisher aren't affected by the bottom of the funnel folks that you're talking about there. You're driving the traffic to them so that they can go out and close. And your bottom line isn't affected by them closing those sales and essentially stealing those commissions traditionally from influencers at the top of the funnel.
Yeah, I mean, it does affect our bottom line, which is why we have to pay, why we get the flat fees. So we have to calculate that into there. But at the end of the day, our influencer costs are manageable. We understand what our ad cost is going to be, and then our margins are worked into that. We preferably would want to obviously get the commissions, but in a lot of cases, the commissions do get attributed in other ways. But I went in knowing that because I come in from the perspective of affiliate manager, right?
Right.
So like our number one goal, or my number one goal is to grow the brand, right? That's my only way that I come into a campaign like that. And then the question is like, where's the attribution? We reached 300,000 people, right? So of 300,000 people, how many people went direct? So you start asking the brand, like, what's your year-over-year growth in traffic? What's your month-over-month growth in traffic? How did that affect your other channels? If you're doing an email newsletter first time customer sign up for 20% and all your coupons are at 15%, you're going to want to look at your email list, right? So we know all the different attributions in that, but we're looking at it from a chessboard perspective, right? So we want to be a growth partner. And if you were to rate your partners, there's partner one that we know is going to drive traffic and demand and awareness. And there's going to be number two that's going to be conversion focused, but you have to have both within an affiliate program.
Well, with that, I would feel like you have to only work with clients that have that tracking capability to be paying attention to all of these channels and the buckets that they're falling into. So are there things that you tell brands that have to be in place before you work with them?
No, because you kind of have to let it shake out to see how every brand works differently and has also different sensitivities, right? And it really will depend on the brand. And ultimately it's really on the account managers, if when we're working through an account manager, is to kind of like see how their overall program has grown and been affected, which I do have a lot of conversations like that. And then we just keep getting budgets re-upped each month because the brand and the account manager know that. I had a call just last week. She was like, oh my God, upsell is killing it. I was like, that's because we just had like 50 add to carts over the weekend. Do you know what I mean? So, but it doesn't become so like finite about the attribution and these are our top performing affiliates anymore. You have to look at the channel spherically and figure out like where you're going to be driving in the new customer acquisition, and then where it's going to shake out based on the offers that you have and that type of thing.
Okay. And you have some kind of predictive revenue targeting system in place. So when you bring on a new client, you can say in the future, this is what's going to happen based on historical data that I've been developing.
Yep, exactly. So essentially, we just basically look at the brand and see what category they are in. So whether it's wellness or home goods or what have you, we look at kind of past like click-through rates that we've had based on our creatives. And then we calculate their average order value, their conversion rate times their average order value.
Gotcha. And with that, where do you think the future is going? Like, if I'm looking at today's standards, I feel like everybody is behind in affiliate marketing to what we really want it to be. And in an ideal world, everybody's getting attribution according to their value to each company. And what's your vision of where you think affiliate and influencer marketing is going in the next couple of years here?
So I think everybody knows that obviously the purchasing path is very complicated. So I was explaining to you earlier, like we know that if we're targeting 25 to about 34, we're going to have more mobile conversions, in that space. So that would be something more direct attribution. But then you have people that are 45 and over that are going to always probably save the desktop or save the link for later or go direct or do the research, right?
Guilty. Absolutely guilty.
I do the same thing, but I have gotten better at the Apple Pay situation. But I think at the end of the day, you have to think about the type of customer that you're targeting. And then affiliate links are challenging, number one, in an in-app platform like Meta,
Okay.
independent of any other tracking parameters. And then it becomes even more complicated on mobile because iOS does not track and leave cookies or things like that. And most brands, most brands that I run are still running last click attribution, right? So at the end of the day, I think that there has to be a solution out there where we're able to track that user as far along the funnel as we can in order to perfect both our performance, being able to speak to Meta and let them know that, hey, this is what's working, what's not, because the affiliate and Meta are not communicating. And so I see the bridge, Virality Boost being the bridge to that. And then also being able to do better attribution and then provide a more transparent conversion evidence to the brand and saying, hey, this is the data that we have based on your campaign. We suggest that you take these different variables and then start running matches, which you can easily do on Anthropic, which is my favorite AI. But yeah, so, and that wasn't a plug.
Okay.
Nothing big.
What makes it your favorite?
Well, I think in less than 6 months, don't quote me on this, but their coding, like I can just run, ask them to write me a calculator that I just thought of, and they can do it. It can do it in 5 minutes, completely coded, ready to go on GitHub and launch on a website. I can put in raw data and I can have it matched variables that's less than 30 seconds just based on prompts. It's super, super time saving.
Amazing. You have a very unique skill set in which you're super technical and statisticky, but also very articulate and warm and like just a friendly affiliate networker. Like it's very rare you see that in this industry where you get both sides of the equation. So
Thanks, Dustin.
great for you. And incredible skill set there. So with that, I've got a question. Like, one of the things I think affiliate managers, or at least good affiliate managers, do is help train the influencers and affiliates about what's working and how to drive those sales at the end of the day. Are the network of influencers that you're working with, are you giving them a tool stack or a suggested tool stack, or you're just letting them do their thing?
No, so it's a very excuse me, controlled, efficient, based on driving performance. So we need them to be efficient. So it's basically providing them with all of the posting parameters and then having them launch. And again, it depends on how the strategy that we're approaching the brand with, right? So some need storytelling, so it's going to do a carousel. Can't accomplish a carousel on an organic post, right? And so the boosting is going to be different. So there are different ways that you have to structure it. So it does take some insight on some vision from our side on how we think it's going to work best, and then kind of tooling around. We bring the influencers in at the very last minute. So it's basically, we need 15, 10 influencers, however many it is that we're running. And you can't just launch 50 influencers and have like a 5,000 budget, because you don't have enough budget to be able to properly test those 50 influencers. The reason why you want to go for scale, if we're running a 50 influencer campaign, is going to be because we're trying to find the pool of influencers that are going to be the top performing ones for that particular brand.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the data and all the learnings is a control mechanism from our side of it in order to pull the levers in order to scale up the performance. From an influencer, it's just a friendly transaction, essentially. I mean, they're a network of people that we've worked with for years. And they're trusted. We either have data on them, they've been referred, that type of thing. But yeah, we don't provide a toolkit necessarily to brand
Okay, that's
influencers.
fair enough. Awesome. And you are creating some new software to help expedite this process for brands. Is that right?
Well, yes, to help, first of all, with the attribution situation, right? It's really to understand like what's happening when we're reaching 300,000 people and we're driving, 15,000 in traffic. And then, if we can't see it on the affiliate level side, then we have to see like how far into the the brand's funnel that they're getting into, in
Mhm.
order for us to create all sorts of different strategies to build on that performance. But we have to solve for the iOS issue. We need a kind of a universal identifier. We need to be able to look at what that purchasing path is, and then also provide conversion data. Because if brands are only making budgeting decisions based on attribution, that's a problem, right? So they're not budgeting appropriately for the top of funnel.
Yeah. Speaking of problems in this industry, I think you're uniquely qualified to answer or give a solid opinion or suggestion of where you think we're going with this. But vanity codes can get abused, but they can also be extremely effective in this industry. So, do you see a future where we can control vanity codes to be trusted essentially for the right acquisition rather than like spread out all over coupon sites and user generated sites, that to where the abuse can go away? Do you see like a solution out there for that to happen?
I think it's gonna get worse
Oh, really? Okay.
because of AI. So I can just search, right? And just say, give me the coupon codes that you can find anywhere and everywhere on Nike, for example, right? And it's just going to scrape and just grab it. So I don't see a world in there. I see the from it's a catch-22, right? Because if you're signing that coupon code and only I'm getting paid for that, nobody has an incentive to spread it out, right? But if AI is going to be like, well, Kim has like, or Rally Boost has the top coupon code here to the customer, and now AI is serving me from that, right? From that
Mhm.
perspective. So I don't. I'm not a fan of coupon codes unless it's truly exclusive, because the brand's running a coupon code on their own particular site. So they're competing against their own coupon codes, right? So new customer sign up, 20% off, sign up for text, 25% off, send an email news, so now we've got a whole nother level of attribution from the brand across to affiliates. All right. So the first layer would be influencer to affiliate to the brand and their other channels that they're running. So those are all considerations. And when I'm given a coupon code, we definitely prominently place it and, and want to drive value for the potential customer. But I do flag that, hey, you are running a 20% sign up offer. We're sending almost all new traffic to your site, and we have a 15% running. So I don't know who's going to win here, but you're likely going to see the attribution on the other side.
Yeah. Love that you have the customer mentality, and I find really like agency that employ a bunch of on site good. At the end of the day, it's what's best for the business. I love to have that happen at all times for your clients. All right, it's right on where this market is going, and I just love the overlap between influencer and affiliate world. Such a big fan of it. Tell us more about how to get a hold of you.
Well, I do want to mention that we have a partnership with USA Today. And so we've seen a lot of success by getting brands listed on the top positions in a listicle for kind of flagship, shopping holidays throughout the year. And then our influencers as content distributors will distribute that content. And then obviously it's very scalable. So that was my initial inspiration for influencer content distribution.
Yeah.
But, then you have to run additional traffic direct to brand. But with that being said, you can reach me at kim@viralityboost.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, or you can visit viralityboost.com.
Beautiful. All right. Getting back to that point, the USA Today thing is so interesting. That helps you hit the ground running if you have a big partnership like that. And so you can get on a top 3 listicle. And then I love the strategy of having the influencers drive traffic that route. That's super smart, very unique in this space. How does a relationship like that come about? Where
let me think. Actually, I first launched Virality Boost, and then I found a list of editorials that I wanted to target. I have some existing relationship from being an affiliate manager. But with USA Today, it was kind of like over time and kind of figuring it out. And it's also a great way for editorials to get new audiences, right? And so they themselves aren't used to paying for traffic because it's all been organic, being 100 score on Moz or whatever you call it. So at the end of the day, they have to find new ways of getting traffic. So editorial partnerships are a big part of our strategy. Britco has performed very, very well for us as well. And we're just growing our network. It's a very powerful combination when you've got editorial credibility, trust, and social proof. And you pack that all into one campaign, and then you launch it, and then you can just scale it. There's a lot of currency in that and a lot of momentum.
Outstanding. Well, love your methodology. This is incredible. Thank you so much for sharing it with the audience here. If you want to know more, Kim gave you those contact details there earlier. Thanks so much for stopping by, Kim. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Dustin.
All right, folks, keep on.